Okay, good afternoon. This is Debbie Davis. It is January 24th, 2025. Okay, so I want to touch on a couple things today. So I tried calling this Human Rights Office already twice now. Okay, and if you remember when I went down there, I have the footage on my channel where I went down there. They were supposed to be in their office. They're supposed to be working in their office in St. Paul, and nobody ever is there, so you can actually physically talk to them. And then they play phone tag. So so far I've filed a. I'm just documenting a pattern of how bad our state offices are run because of our Democrat governor Tim Walz and the other Democrats in these different that have gotten these people in these state offices. So I filed an EEOC complaint when the state offices here. They denied against my for being wrongfully fired at Wagner. I was there for 2 years. I was wrongfully fired for no reason. I've proven that. I've proven that it's discrimination. They won't move forward. They wouldn't even allow me to go in for an intake interview. There was about 3 of us that got wrongfully fired. So they are completely violating our human rights. And so all of the people there have been put in by the Democrats and Tim Walz, and they are not doing their job. So I'm just showing a pattern here, how we need to get rid of Tim Walz and the Democrats that he has working with him, because they have put these people in these positions, these state offices all over Minnesota that are not doing their jobs. They need to be doged completely cut off from all funding, and they need to be either just completely cut off because these offices are not doing their jobs at all, or put all new people in. But for the moment, they just need to be cut off. Just cut off all their funding, because they are not doing their jobs. They are not real employees. They're put in there by the Democrats, so they will only help their own people on the left. They won't help any veterans. They won't help any Christians. They just, it's totally one, it's the just us system, right? Just us Democrats. That's how they roll. It's the just us system with Tim Walz and his Democrats, people here, and not just our state, every state. But so I tried a civil rights complaint against the police, which I have plenty of footage that I've been wrongfully targeted and harassed by being illegally put on this targeted individual program as a veteran. So I'm sorry. I really would wonder. I would really be concerned if I was, for my other veterans too, how many of you are also on this list. I happen to survive so far, but 30,177 other veterans have not. So, and you're not going to probably survive too much longer if we don't get some people removed from power. So I think that it's time for all of us veterans to stand up, and all the Christians to stand up against these Democrats and these, it just happens to be the Democrats that have been put all these bad people in. All the bad people that I've encountered that are in these state offices are all on the Democrat side. Like the different congressmen or senators that I've tried to contact that are worthless. They're all on the Democrat side. So it just happens to be that these people are all on that side. So I just feel like we have to just make a very serious effort to remove them now that we have a new president and new leadership. We have to just start removing all these Democrats that have put all these illegal people in these offices. The Civil Rights Office, Michelle Phillips, I thought she seemed nice. She didn't do one thing with my complaint. My complaint has not been followed up at all. She works for Tim Walz. I thought she was nice. She was a nice black lady, but she didn't do anything with my complaint. There's nothing has moved forward in any way with that civil rights complaint. I physically went into the office there in Minneapolis, and showed my evidence about all of this police harassment. It's a civil rights violation. And then they try to say, oh, it just, you can only address certain police in that office. No, it's a statewide office. This is the capital. St. Paul is the capital of the state. And so you have to, any civil rights complaint that goes into that office is a statewide complaint. So don't even try to act like I'm dumb, because I'm not dumb, okay? Any office there, you're required to handle whatever police issue it is. It doesn't matter what agency it is. You're required to investigate it, whatever agency it is. There's nothing that stipulates in your regulations that you only get to that a civil rights complaint only that you can only address civil rights complaints from Minneapolis. You are making up your own rules. You make up your own rules because you're the Just Us operation. Just Us, which doesn't mean justice for us. Okay, so we have to get wise. They are complete frauds at the Civil Rights Office. Complete 100% frauds. There's nothing in your regulations or police review that says that you only can, that my civil rights complaint only can address Minneapolis police. My civil rights complaint was addressing all of you state police, all that have been harassing me, all of the Minneapolis police, then in Ramsey County the other day, it was them. My civil rights complaint addresses them. Then in Oak, when I was over on that side, then the Oak something police were stalking me. Then my civil rights complaint should address all of you. It doesn't, there's nothing in any kind of law or regulation that says, because that guy, when I called on the phone, he tried to say, oh, this civil rights, it only addresses the Minneapolis police. These guys are so full of crap. They're making up their own rules as they go along. We have absolute criminals that have hijacked every single state office here. Okay, so we have to get them removed. I've called this woman from the Human Rights Office now 3 times. 3 times. Okay, and she's called me back. She says she keeps, missing our phone call. So, this was, and she was supposed to be in the office when I went physically over there, but nobody works out of their offices anymore. They're all hiding out of their home offices because they know they're working for the bad side. Yeah, she acts nice, but, let's see if she's actually doing her job, which I'll probably just get voicemail again, because, and this is what they do. And I see if she picks up the phone.
Hello, you've reached
See,
Department of Human Rights. My name is Michelle.
I keep getting her voicemail. This is the 4th time I've gotten just her voicemail. This woman never picks up her phone.
A couple of options for me to call you back. I will do my best to call you at your convenience. Again, this is Michelle from Minnesota Department of Human Rights.
This woman, I've called her 4 times. I've left three messages. This woman is never in her office, and she never picks up the phone. And I have another story like that too. Yes, Michelle, this is the 4th time I've tried calling you regarding my human rights complaint, my very serious allegation against the police here in Minneapolis, St. Paul. I have a massive human rights violation going on, and you are not taking it seriously, Michelle. So I'm just making sure that everybody knows that you are not there doing your job as a human rights person. So I just want everybody to see in Minnesota how we don't have any civil rights people protecting us. We don't have any human rights people because of Tim Walz and his Democrat buddies. I don't, this is the 4th time I've called you, and I tried physically going there where you were actually supposed to be in your office and you weren't there, and I tried that twice now. So, I don't really see how this is helping me. But my number is 651-767-2892.
To accept and set message options, press 1. To send now, press the pound key.
Mm-hmm.
Message sent.
Okay, so I sent, this is the 4th time now. So, but I had another situation like this with the, when I was working, this was about 3 years ago. I was working, I applied it was when I was staying with my mother in Brooklyn Park when my dad was had dementia, and I was helping take care of my dad. So I was living in that area, and Fleet Farm was hiring, and right near my house there in the warehouse area. And I was supply in the military. Yeah, so I was like, okay, maybe I could just work here part time. And I was doing other stuff, temping and stuff like that. But you have to understand, it's not like I've had I've had responsible jobs my whole life. It's just ever since I got on this targeted list, nobody will hire me. It's just like, or they'll fire me for no reason. So it's been really hard for me. So I went over and because it's the Masons that put me on this list. Okay, so yeah, so I just want people to know that this is like this, what this woman in the Human Rights Office is doing is the same kind of game that the HR people at Fleet Farm in Brooklyn Park played with me. So what happened is they hired me. I applied at Fleet Farm because they had all these signs that they were hiring, and I applied, and they hired me, and then I went in for my 3-hour training or whatever, and then and I asked before I even got hired, I asked during the COVID, I asked if the COVID shot required, and they said no, not at this time, it's not required, and so but then after the training so I finished the training, then I kept waiting for my schedule, and they wouldn't send me my schedule, and then this HR woman, her name was Nancy Hoosier, Hoosier. She kept emailing me and asking me. They kept asking me when I was at, if I've gotten the shot, because we need to know. And I said, you don't need to know. It's a HIPAA violation. I don't have to tell you. You said you don't require it for hiring, so I really don't have to tell you if I am or not, if I have gotten it or not, because it's not a requirement, and that's a HIPAA violation for you to even ask me that. And so I mean, literally, this went on and I said at this point I just think that since you won't give me a schedule, and you keep asking me about this COVID shot, that I just don't, I guess that I don't see this working here, and then weeks went by, and they wouldn't send me just my check for the 3 hour of training, and this was weeks went by, and it was seriously, I'm over there.
So you're texting her?
Yeah. She's trying to text this lady, Nancy Hoosier, for Fleet Farm. I think the Fleet Farm are all Masons. That's my understanding, and Nancy, I'm sure she was too. They wouldn't answer the phone. She wouldn't answer the phone, so it was like this phone tag, like this human rights lady is playing. This is the games they play. So, we'd have to work out of the office, out of home because of COVID. I'm sorry, it's not COVID anymore, so get to work, okay? It's not COVID anymore. You got to face the public, otherwise lose your job, okay? Yeah, she kept playing this game. So she would not send me a check. She would not send me a check. So I had to go in there in Brooklyn Park office.
She said something about 217, but it takes 7 days to get in the mail, and I was like,
I
just want to pick it up.
I said, I just want to pick up the check. You don't have to send it in the mail.
I just want to pick up the paycheck.
Paycheck
Here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted I was just trying to get the check for the 3-hour training, because they said I was hired. So they sent me to a training. So I went to the training, and then they would not pay me. And so then it got so then I go in there. Then I go in there, and they said they were going to give me the check.
Corey Williams, isn't it, Joe Allen? Postmaster General?
Well, in 2016, I know.
Okay, yeah, so they said they were going to give me a check. And so they said, okay, go send it. Then they finally got a hold of her, and they said, okay, your check, you can come and pick it up. And then when I go there to pick up the check, they had the police there at Fleet Farm, and I got handed. This is how dirty our police are. Yeah, right here. Okay, yeah. So this is so now you can get arrested just for trying to pick up a check in Minnesota. If it's a Mason company, which is Fleet Farm is. Okay. Okay, so then I go to pick it up, and there's a cop waiting for me there. There's a cop waiting for me there.
Why do we need the cops here?
And they said, and what they did is because I had done these videos just trying to get my check, you wouldn't pay me a check. Then they decided that they were going to do then they had the police there, and they said, because of these videos that you're doing, like it's illegal for me to do a video just trying to pick up a check. So this is what happens in Minnesota with these Mason companies. Fleet Farm is a Mason company. I think we just need to just, not give our money to these companies that treat veterans like this. I mean, I was hired. I was told I was hired. I was told to go to the training, and then you wouldn't pay me. And the police are involved in enforcing this. They're involved, so they gave me a no trespassing. So I'm not ever allowed to go to this Fleet Farm in Brooklyn Park. Like, I'm somehow a criminal just for trying to pick up a check. This is how crazy the Masons are, and how crazy the cops are in Brooklyn Park. And they went along with it. And I was like, oh, there's something illegal for picking up a check now? And they were like, and I said, you don't have to worry about me not trespassing. I'm never going to Fleet Farm again in my life. And I don't recommend anybody shopping there. But this is what happened to me, and this is the same kind of games this woman is playing in that works for the human. And they all work for the Democrats, and they're all Masons. It's like a secret club, and they think they're above us. And so if we don't put them in line, they're going to continue getting away with it. So the veterans have to stand up for other veterans. And then so then we have this gulag going on. So 3 days ago, President Trump pardoned everybody. 1,500 people should have been released, and we know we have. There's been footage. I showed the footage. I was working very closely with the White Hats that were working with President Trump. That's where I got the footage of those state police and that inside footage of the state police. I got sent by some White Hats that worked with President Trump. I got sent that like a year ago or something, and that was footage that came out that I shared on my channel. So we know that the Capitol Police were involved and they are Masons, and they were illegally involved in arresting these people, and a lot of them are veterans, and they were there to support President Trump. And I could have very well been there, but I'm so targeted that I knew that it's really hard. I have to like really really be careful, and I have to listen to my gut of where, if it's safe and everything. But apparently
They're petty like that. They're like,
so apparently
they're
they're
trying to get back at us.
even though he signed this pardon, apparently there's a lot of them that they're just like stalling in releasing these people. Okay, so they're just playing. The Democrats are playing this stalling game. It's just I just am trying to prove like daily like how much we have to get rid of certain people. We have to get rid of the Democrats. They are blocking. They all they do is like fight. With good laws that they're trying to pass. All they do is try to block everything. They're like they're not working with the government. They're not real they're not really representing the state at all. All they do is they're there just to block everything. It's just been like this for years, and I don't know why nobody is not just addressing it. Like, all they do in the House here, the Democrats, all they do is they try to block everything good that the other Republicans or some of the good ones that try to pass. That's all they do. It's like they're purposely there to do that. Okay, so it's like a pattern. So, we just have to get rid of them. Just doge them. Like, okay, then bye. Because you're not really doing your job anyways. Like, why are we even putting up with these people?
It takes a very slow government to process these things.
Should have never happened like that.
So this is a video from J6 from the DC Gulag.
After you've collected everybody,
Oh,
are you gonna stay in DC?
for a while. We're going straight home. I got a lot of young grandkids, and some of the nieces and nephews, and with my family for a while. It's been a long time, so it's gonna be nice.
So you have your dad, and do you have his dad and mother?
My grandpa is now, he passed away, and it's just my grandmother, and it,
okay, so there's, let's see.
Is that he would power back to us, and that's exactly what he's done.
Another jackass comes out. Who's this one? Who's the other one? Oh, here we go.
Okay, there's like they're just playing some veterans,
And
you
got
know,
way
that
out of control. So Chicago's a place where also there's been a lot of complaints, predominantly from the African American community.
okay, let's see. There's some veterans that were in there, and I'm trying to, find the,
Those two.
let's see. Find the footage of some of them.
Maybe 200 or more executive orders. I hope he's going to start issuing pardons and commutations on day one. By golly, he should. DC courts haven't gotten the message. Just give it to everybody and smack those courts back to where they belong. And then third, he's going to do high-profile raids and deportations. And he's going to start with big Democratic cities. He's going to start with Chicago, and Mayor Adams wants him to do it in New York, and he's going to go to New York. He's got support in New York. He's got no support in Chicago. The utility there will expose how corrupt that fat-ass Governor Pritzker is. That's that guy that helped steal all his family wealth connected to the mob. That's who that dude is. And then the mayor, of course, who there's another nut job in Chicago. So, but do some high, and that's where that's the number one place where the gangs have recentered effort. I wrote a memo on that like 20 years ago for the old Chicago outfit boys. That the guys that were featured in Casino.
So you can listen to this one here. It's on the Ann Vandersteel channel, and it's the J6 people talking finally that have been released and stuff, and there's some veterans that have been released, but it's like they don't they hardly have anything. I don't know. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, but. I mean, these people were wrongfully imprisoned. I know exactly what that's like. I've been wrongfully put in jail by these Mason cops, 5 or 6 times now, and every single one of them was a wrongful stop. And I can prove it. I have a whole pattern of, and then they took my money each time, and they never give my bail money back. It's a pattern of, targeted pattern of abuse, racketeering, and false arrests. So you're violating your, it's called a color of oath rights. You're violating your police oaths. You are violating the laws in Minnesota. It's called racketeering and fraud. I've got so many charges on you. I mean, let's just, it's just, I could just keep going. I mean, there's so many charges against you, and you call yourself the police. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Do not have anything good to say about any police. Okay, I have never had a good experience, except for I did have one guy in North Dakota when my sheriff in South Dakota illegally called off the plowing and almost killed me because he called off the plowing in South Dakota when I was on my way back from North Dakota visiting a friend in Fargo. And we had a snowstorm come in, and I have to travel these small roads sometimes, these county roads to go back to my house in South Dakota. And they called off the plowing, so nobody plowed that certain county road. So I almost died. I almost died that day. That was my criminal sheriff, Dave Ackerman. He's a Mason, and he called off the plowing to that area. And anytime you call off the plowing to a road and don't plow a road, you're supposed to block off the road. Oh no, not Dave Ackerman, not the Masons. They don't do anything that they're supposed to do. Okay, so You can't, they don't put the salt and sand down like they're supposed to. They don't plow the roads like they're supposed to. You can't trust any of them. So, we have to trust ourselves. So, I was driving on that county road, and because he didn't block off the road, a few of us, went flying right into like a 4-foot ditch. And it was like 20, it was like 0 degrees. I'm sitting there freezing to death because my heater core belt had broken when I had from the fall. So thankfully there was a different sheriff in that area. It was in North Dakota. It was Winchester or something, North Dakota. And thankfully this county sheriff deputy, he did help me out, and the county people had to come out and help me out. But my sheriff, in cahoots with another sheriff, is the one that called off the plowing. It wasn't the deputy; it was the sheriffs above him, I guess. But he did help me, and so and sometimes they have to write, during a car accident, they have to write tickets. But I mean, literally, like my entire life, I've never had a good experience with the police. Okay, but I've had hundreds of bad ones now, hundreds. So I just think that they can't be trusted. I think we need to do something like what New York is doing. I think that where they hired these people called guardian angels, because nobody trusts the police out there anymore either. So they're hiring like a community people they call themselves guardian angels. I think that's what we have to start doing here and in our communities, because we can't trust our agencies that are supposed to be helping us. So that is what I suggest we need to start doing, and we just don't give our money to these companies that are abusing us, that are abusing their authority, and that are abusing veterans and stuff, like what Fleet Farm did to me, and companies that are illegally firing people. Just don't give them your money. Just don't buy their products. That's one way we can fight back. But I truly think at this point, with as many videos that I've uploaded in the last few days of how they are stalking me so badly, just for trying to find out where, how I get my money back, or what's going on with this case exactly. Well, isn't that what you're supposed to do? This is how easily you can get arrested in Texas, because they never sent me one thing. They never sent me one thing, and then I do this criminal report, and as far as I'm concerned, the case has been dropped. But then now you heard me call this guy, say, oh well, the only reason why there's nothing that showed up on the report is because you never went to court. Like, as if that's somehow my fault that they never sent me a Zoom link. I'm not going down to Texas for a court date. Especially a false court date where I know I'm 100% innocent and you're the criminals. I'm certainly not going to spend any gas money or a flight going down there. So it is your responsibility to send a Zoom link and to notify the person if there is something outstanding on their record. Otherwise, you're completely in the wrong, So apparently there's warrants that I would have never known about. Okay, so, and I don't even know, and then you can't get the warrants off because the courts won't communicate and let you know how to even get it off. They force you to either, you are forced to pay their fines. And if you don't, then you'll never have these things ever removed from your record. They will force you and force you and force you to pay a fine. They'll say, well, take this. Well, we can, move it down to this, or we can move it. No, I'm not taking any of your bribes, any of your, we can move this down to this. We can move it down to that. No, you are the criminals that wrongfully arrested people, that are wrongfully arresting me and other people. And I'm not taking any bribe from you. I'm not taking any kind of, we can move it to this, we can move it to that. No, don't stand for it. Hold these courts and cops accountable, okay? Because they are the criminals, and they will never, ever give your money back, and that is racketeering and fraud. and they will always try to say, oh well, the judge will say, well, we can take this, they'll try to drop it down to a lesser charge just for you to go away. And that is what they always do. They will never dismiss anything. It is a criminal operation that has ruined people's lives. And they are still trying to ruin my life. And this has gone on for me 12 years. 12 years. I haven't been able to have a life. There's still, like, I was trying to apply for some jobs, and some warrant that I didn't even know about from a few years ago showed up. It's like they completely ruining people's lives, and they don't care a thing about it. You think they do, think differently. They do not care if they ruin your life, so you can't allow them to bully you, okay? Because they don't care about you, and so I don't care about them. You're not going to bully me. You're not going to continue bullying me.